Hi everyone. Today's video is going to be another one with skates on. Now, the point of this is a little different to last week's, which was just kind of getting you comfortable in your skates. This is to recap some key fundamental things that you perhaps might have forgotten over this lockdown period, so that they're fresh in your brain for when we get back on the ice. So, starting off with absolute basics. Inside edges, outside edges. Inside edges lean towards your insteps. Outside edges lean towards your outsteps. Okay, your knees go over your toes, so we've got a good alignment, nice and strong, so we bend. So you're not just rolling your ankle, but it is coming right from the top there, top of the legs. It's all lined, quads, shins, and into your feet. Whether you're going onto the inside, and we can have a little practice and a bend. Now, if you are doing this at home, I would highly recommend holding on to something because it is so much harder to balance off the ice in your skates than on the ice. But have a little bend, press into the outside edges, okay, there, and press into the inside edges. Okay, now, basics with forward skating, next. Actually, really simple. This is pitched at all levels, but probably more the focus at those of you that are much more new to skating. If you do wobble, take your weight forward, not backwards. So down as low as you can go, safety position, knees over toes. If you are, particularly as a less experienced skater, so important to go here, don't go back. Basic skating posture, ribs in, hips under, get your nice straight back, strong tummy. Okay, you're bending your knees, not your hips. So we don't want to see this, we want to see this. Okay, down, nice and strong before every step. Whether you're doing your lemons, so just to recap lemons, using the inside edges, it's a plie. The feet push out nice and equally on insides, obviously in a smooth glide. Then we turn our hips in and we squeeze. So we bend and they go out, and then as we turn in, we squeeze and kiss our toes together and rotate out and repeat the action with a smooth glide. And of course, backwards, it's heels out and then heels in. Turn in, bend first, and then pull in. There's never enough knee bend, we can always go, we aim to go more. Forward skating, backward skating. In fact, before every single push, bend before you push. Forward skating. Okay, starting neutral, bend, rotate out from the hips, push through the inside edge, holding on the ice as long as we can. It comes off and then rises together. Feet close, bend, push out, rise together, feet close, bend, re-bend before, keeping the posture strong, turn out, along, rise together. Backward skating. This time, toes are inverted. Okay, we bend before we push along, pushing off the inside edge still. Okay, and now we're turning the toe, lifting the toe in front of us, lifting the foot in front of us, and the toe turns out slightly. Skating lines. Forward skating line, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, the foot turns out to 45 degrees for our forward skating line. So right down the diagonal. Backward skating line comes in front, but the toe again turns out 0 degrees, 90 degrees, we're just turning. So 0 degrees, 90 degrees, we're just going along the diagonal to 45. So we push inside edge, rock over slightly towards the centre, towards outside, not completely outside, more centre, and then turning out together, bend. So just bring the weight over the skate, okay, flat to ever so slightly towards the outside. Not really on an outside, but towards it. So when it shouldn't actually be curved, and we're not aiming to do edges, it's just a gradual lean, same as forwards. Okay, but the toe going long. Cross line is turned in to give the illusion of turning out. Again, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, along that 45, but the free leg is inverted to extend the line, and is pressing the skating leg in that cross position, is pressing on an inside edge. Practice that, have the circle to the inside of you, press there, and again it's bend, push, onto an outside edge, cross, bend, inside edge. So step, outside edge for your first push, cross. If you're doing a crossover, it's going to lift over the top, next line along. If you are slightly more advanced, you're going to be thinking of the running action whereby it goes actually along the ice, so and you've got the under push happening as well. So we've got that inside edge and we're pushing away with the outside edge of the new free foot. That's a more advanced step if you are into progressive runs, as opposed to just step, cross, that you'll be doing as a beginner. Okay, remember your body's hugging your imaginary circle. So if you're going around the red hockey circles, give it a hug, push outside edge, either replace on the floor and strike across and under push for a forward run, or if you're not quite there yet, step, lift over, bend and bend. So bend on this push, bend on this push. Okay, backwards crossovers. We have a lunge. I'm going around my hockey circle. It's now on this side. Change it over, hug my circle, bend, either less advanced version, lift over. As we lift over, the heel leads, so it guides across. Too often I see people try to go across with their toe and they kind of collapse. So it's heel lead, either lifting over, or if you're a little bit more advanced and you're starting to get that heel sliding over, so you'll strike out and this foot will actually stay on the ice, and then we do lift that foot away at the back. From there, bring it in, rebend, strike, staying low, down, rebend. Okay, so quick going over your stopping before we get on. Snowplow, toes in, bend the knees. You don't want to be leaning too far in because it won't actually do anything, so it's only just ever so slightly inverted, virtually straight but not quite, but like on slight lean in but not too much. Big, strong, deep knee bend. You use your quads, knees over toes, press out firmly, push. Okay, shoulders over hips. Try to use both feet, because if you use only one, you're going to turn off to the side. It's going to be all over the shot, so nice and equally. Okay, that's your strongest, firmest stop. There are, of course, other stops. You might see people come to a 90-degree angle and pull the foot in, like that, into a T-stop. In a more advanced version of a T-stop, you actually stop on the outside edge. Okay, so you drag in with the outside foot. That is a much more advanced stop. Don't try it if you haven't been taught it. Okay, by your coach. The trouble with this one is that you have to be very strongly turned out with that hip. Anything less than that and it's not going to work. You're going to drag and pull your toe. Okay, so bend, pull up, but preferably snowplow. Okay, turns. Step, you can practice these on your edges. Okay, you push for a 3-turn, foot comes in, behind, you turn, and we get that turns line. Our turns line, again, is to the 45 degrees, so 0, 90, so 0, it's actually the toes pointing along the 45, but actually the hips very strongly turned out there. Okay, so I don't want to be in, I want to be turned out along that line. You bend, you come in, so you step, you prepare, pre-rotate the shoulders, foot comes in, and then the hip follows. And you stay on your circle. A 3-turn is making a semicircle with the number 3, with your turn being that point here at the top. So we go in, toe comes in, flick out, and we follow the exit curve there. Okay, so it's bend, in, shoulders turn, flick. And you can have a practice holding onto a wall or a chair at home, down, and focusing on maintaining that turnout as you turn. Quite often I see people go in and the foot kind of comes too far around, they can't hold it, or it comes to the side and they drop off. Okay, you've got to focus on that position and that squeeze in there. Use your glute to lift you up. Rotation comes from twist and lift. So you're down and up. Okay, and again, you can have insides and outsides. There are obviously many more complicated turns. Your rockers, your counters, okay, twizzles. Not talking about any of those right now. Just focusing on the basics to get you back into the ice. Mohawks. So, mohawks, there are 2 types. There's open and closed. I say there's two types, there's actually more than that because we've got insides and outsides and backwards and forwards. But these two foot positions, open and closed. The Learn to Skate mohawks that you will have covered will be your forward inside open. They are the first ones you're introduced to. So you come in the forward inside edge, you have a circle that you're going around, you're going to hug your circle, you step in, knee over toe on your inside edge, rise in, heel to instep. Okay, so this is an open position. So whereas before with our 3-10 we brought the foot behind, so we brought instep to heel, we're now going heel to instep. You can see that this toe and this foot and this foot are now pointing opposite ways. So this one, if I was on the circle, actually I'm just going to borrow this. Okay, so I've got my little stool. This one's going that way around the stool, and the other foot is now going the opposite way around the stool. This allows me to step and replace the foot, transfer the weight without having to twist to get to backwards when it's cheated and becomes a 3-10. So instead we just go bend, rise up, squeeze in, rotate out strongly through the hips. The more you can turn out the better, and then you just transition your feet. Okay, it is open because if you look at the point of turn, I bend, pre-bend as always, rise up, bend, and you notice that actually I have a nice open position between my knees. And then I can change and extend away. Down, up, plie as I prepare the foot, exit, and I don't have to turn the foot at all. Plie, rise, squeeze, bring it in, rotating out from the hips, hugging my circle, I'm nice and open here, as open as possible. Plie, transition the foot, and then my leg will follow the line. So I go in, and I can go in around, and my leg follows that semicircle there. That's my open mohawk. If I were to do an outside, if I was to do a closed mohawk, which on the Learn to Skate program, it's going to be, if you cover one, it's going to be a outside closed, typically. A closed mohawk is more like a 3-turn line, where you come in, the foot goes behind, so it's instep to heel. At the point I turn, so if I were to do this, take a barrel roll, for example, that uses an outside closed mohawk, I'm on an outside edge, I'm going around a circle, I'm facing out my circle rather than into my circle like I was on the open mohawk. The open mohawk that I've just done faced in towards my circle. My outside mohawk is going out, I'm faced away from my circle. My instep comes to my heel, I bend. Again, the turn out is just as strong, if not stronger. Okay, so that my feet are essentially facing different directions. Going forward, going backwards, so all I have to do is change feet. Okay, and I can sit into it, my ribs are in, my hips under, my posture's engaged, and I sit in, prepare the foot to the outside edge before I step. Okay, so I don't have to change anything, do anything, it's just prepared, and it's just a transfer of weight as opposed to a twist. So it's closed because the gap between my legs is closed, unlike in the open mohawk, where the gap between my legs stayed open. I maintain the window. I have shut the window on a closed mohawk. I have closed my window. Last kind of basic exercise, cross rolls, forward cross rolls. Well, cross rolls in general, outside edges as they go down. Okay, forward cross roll feels a little bit like drawing a figure of 8. So you strike, draw an S, so toe turns in a bit like our cross line that we did earlier, but then rotates out before it steps on the ice, so it goes down on an outside edge, and I can now push off the back outside edge there, turn out, draw in, prepare, step on the outside edge. This is still on the outside edge that I put it down on, and I can push away in figure 8, step outside edge and push. Okay, a beginner cross roll, if you're not quite that standard, would literally might just be crossing the feet nice and close and over, putting the feet down every time on an outside edge. If you cross onto an inside edge, it is not a cross roll. Okay, by definition, you need to be on an outside edge for your cross rolls. Nice rise and fall through that. Back cross roll, still an outside edge, but they are going behind. Okay, so back cross roll, steps behind. It's similar to our outside mohawk. We are at our closed position. Okay, there. Turn heel first, close the position, sit back, close the position. Okay, so heel passes, heel to, so instep to heel, so the instep passes the heel, and then we get that backward skating line, sit back. Think about something I always describe sitting back on your backward skating is imagining that you're perching on like a bar stool, or if you've been on the tube in London, or any metro system for that matter, and you've got that kind of side of the carriage where you haven't actually got the end of the carriage where it's not a seat, but there's that bit you sort of perch on and hope you don't fall over into the person staring at their phone next to them that doesn't want to talk to you. You sort of perch, you can get your core, and you sit back on that, and it's it's that kind of feeling. So you're sat back. Okay, we don't want to be here because this restricts our ability to lift our leg. When we lift a leg, it always comes from the butt. Okay, so I don't want to see people doing this to kick their legs up and do it all on straight legs. It's bend and use the glute. Bend.
Sorry, I don't know that.
That's Alexa. Bend and use the glute. All right, everyone. Hopefully that has given you some stuff to hopefully recap, refresh brain, so that when you get back on the ice, it's still familiar and you still feel like you know what you're doing. Obviously take it very slow. Those first few sessions, it's going to be building you up, getting used to it. Literally start on 2 feet. Go around lemons, slalom. Oh, slalom. I think I did talk about this in the last video. Down, pull up to change the edge. Bend, pull up to change the edge. Down, up, down, up. Okay, you bend as you come round the apex of the curve and you rise to change curve, bend around the apex, rise to change. So yeah, anyway, start on 2 feet, get used to it, then introduce some basic pushing, forward skating, bit of backwards, then build in your edges. As you get a little bit more confident, start bringing in maybe just 2 foot turns to begin with, and then bring in some 1 foot 3 turns. Start near the barrier if you need to, just to get the feel, find your rocker again, then build in some more, build in some mohawks. Enjoy it and just yeah, have fun. All right, everyone, bye bye. Enjoy your skating when you get back.